Dressed in a Brioni suit, goatee, and smoking a cigarette, an Italian man leaned over a rail at the top of the steps that led to the encore.
"What the hell?"
Tony Stellis said.
"I haven't seen you around in years. What's shaking, brother?"
Keenan walked across the street. On those rare occasions where he did come back to town, Tony had always been the perfect host. "Just visiting," said Keenan. "I'm meeting a friend for dinner." Tony flicked a cigarette ash off the porch.
"Try the au revoir, filet mignon. It's a slice of heaven. Your date is inside, already seated. She told me you were on the way."
Nodding, Keenan walked in. The restaurant, noted for fine dining, was an old Victorian building. A fireplace flickered near the corner of the bar, making for a warm and inviting ambiance. White tablecloths and a centerpiece candle decorated the tables. Tony tapped Keenan on the shoulder and pointed at a woman near the corner of the dining room. She wore a silver mesh dress with spaghetti straps.
"Be careful I don't steal her," Tony winked. "She's beautiful."
And she was. As a young girl, Becca braided her hair in pigtails and sported torn blue jeans. Years later, the tomboy had blossomed into a summer rose. Becca sat quietly at the table and studied the menu. She smiled and stood up when Keenan entered. When she hugged him, the soft scent of her perfume, fresh as a spring morning after a cold winter, played on her neck. "It's so good to see you again," she whispered in his ear. And it was. Perfect, in fact. After an awkward pause, they sat down. The waitress brought a bottle of wine. "Banfi Rosso di Montalcino. Compliments of Tony. Enjoy." She smiled and walked away. Momentarily at a loss for words, Keenan played with his napkin. It hadn't been the first time they'd met over the years. After Becca's husband died, she moved to Long Island. City life wasn't perfect, but she loved gazing across the East River at Midtown Manhattan. "Your eyes are unsettled, Keenan. Almost haunted. What are you really doing here?" Keenan stared.
"You really want to know?"
Becca smiled uncertainly.
"After we grew up, we all just sort of left this place, almost as if it never existed," Keenan said. "Don't get me wrong. We saw each other at times, but we never really talked about what happened back then. Everyone buried the past and moved on. But me? No matter how I tried, I couldn't forget what transpired. It was as if something had a noose around my neck and I couldn't loosen the knot."
He took a sip of wine.
"I tried ignoring it, but no matter how much dirt I shoveled on the grave, the corpse always crawled back out. There's times I'm not even certain if what happened to us back then was real or just a kid's wild imagination."
Becca grew silent. She folded her hands on the table. "I remember that night," she said in a voice thick with tension. "A woman got killed on Pisgah Mountain. People in town were frightened and locking their doors. After that, Tugger disappeared. Nobody could find him. You had this feeling, though, sort of a sixth sense. You said that he was up on the mountain and in danger. We sneaked out of our houses after dark and climbed the hillside. We tried to find him, but whatever was up there found us first. Most of the rest of that night is a blur. I know we made it out alive because we're sitting here now." She smiled, but her face just as quickly turned somber. "What I can tell you is this. It happened," she said.